reported, and discussed. Welcome back to Montreal Now on CJAD 800.
Welcome back. I don't know if you happened to see this a couple of days ago. I guess, if you will, an op-ed in the Montreal Gazette, which really caught my eye, and it was so much fun to read from a different perspective. A Montrealer, someone who grew up here, who moved away in the mid-1980s to Toronto, and then came back to Montreal just, I guess, about a week or so ago. And the way she described what it was like to come back, and I thought we need to talk about this on air because we just finished spending time today hearing from people who are fed up and want to leave and they're going. Well, she kind of did, and then she's come back to take a look again. Carolyn Bennett is a comic and writer, and as I said, wrote this piece in the Gazette the other day. Carolyn, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, this is such a pleasure, Aaron. I'm so excited. I haven't done an interview with a Montreal radio station. I think the last one was like 82.
Wow.
Or 83 or something. Yeah, I was with the comedian Sean Keane, and it was late night CJAD, I think.
Isn't that something? Well, welcome back 40 years later.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
This is so neat.
So let me talk. First of all, as I said, I loved your piece in the Gazette. Let's go back for people who didn't read it, even for those who did. You left here in the mid-1980s and moved to Toronto. Why?
Why? Because with a last name like Bennett, and being an Anglophone and being absolutely horrible in French, I did try, but I'm so shy, and I just felt like, oh my God, I'm going to have to leave. Because I did Concordia, I did communications and film and TV, and Toronto was just kind of rising up the ranks as far as production. And I thought, I think I have to leave. And it felt like treason. It broke my heart to leave.
And then you got to Toronto.
Then I got to Toronto, and in the article I talk about how I just felt superior, being from Montreal, of course, because Montreal was the greatest city, and not just in Canada, in the world. And we had the best hockey team. We had the biggest city in Canada. My dad worked at Place Ville Marie. My mother worked at St. Mary's Hospital. Like, my life it just couldn't get any better, right? Like, my credentials were impeccable. So when I got to Toronto, I was a little bit arrogant. I'd throw in a la, la, la once in a while, to scare the Anglos there, like to try to impress them with any kind of French phrase. And, so it was absolutely brutal for many, many years, like trying to adjust to the life in Toronto because it was pretty boring. Yeah. At that time, the bars closed at like 11 p.m., which was like unheard of. And people worked very hard. It was just very, very boring. But then Toronto started to change.
Yeah. So, I imagine back then, I remember, 100 years ago, being there in the 70s, but there was a bit of a lack of culture, one might say, back in the time that you were there, right?
Well, very, very a monoculture, very, very Anglophone. Now, I have to say, my parents were originally from Toronto, so I've got some deep roots in Toronto. But my father had the great sense to go to McGill University and do engineering. So my parents got married, they raised their family, they moved to Montreal, raised the family in Montreal. Dad worked for Air Canada, like I said. I am so blessed that I wasn't born in Toronto. That's all I can think, So coming back, the article is about coming back. I do not live in Montreal, right? Like I'm living in Brockville, which is 2 hours west of.
Well, hold on a sec. Hang on a sec. As hard as it may have been to adjust to life in Toronto, what's it been like to adjust to life in Brockville?
Let's just say I feel like I was driving on the 401 going like 120 clicks and then just slamming on the brakes. Mm. That's how it feels to live here. I'm not just, I'm not dissing Brockville. It's a lovely little town. I feel lucky to own a house here, something I didn't do in Toronto, and the article mentions it, but it's a nice little town. The operative word is little. But I feel lucky. I feel lucky because I'm in between Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa.
Yeah. Was that the point, to be somewhere like in between?
Honestly, yes. Yes. My brother lives in Ottawa. None of my siblings are in Montreal anymore. We still have, there's a lot of friends still in Montreal. but a couple of my siblings are bilingual. But jobs take you away. So people left. But I know coming back, and the article's all about spending 35 years in Toronto, and I was rent-evicted from my apartment in 2021, and at a time where maybe people left Montreal for political reasons, people are leaving Toronto for economic reasons.
Sure. Yeah.
It's incredibly expensive to live there. And my partner thought, the writing's on the wall. I was in my apartment for 24 years. And the landlord sold the house, God love him, he did what he had to do. But the person who bought the house immediately rent-evicted the people downstairs, started demolishing the house while I lived on the second floor. Mm. That's Toronto. That's Toronto now.
So that forced your hand. Then you had to make that move. You're in Brockville. But describe now what it was like, as you do in the article, of coming back to Montreal. And who are you with? You were with your husband?
Yeah, okay. My husband / live-in.
Okay, and what was that like?
Well, the poor guy's from Saskatchewan, so he doesn't know any better. He just...
Okay.
We're driving along the Metropolitan, and his eyes are wide open. What's it like? I want to drop on my knees and praise, the praise of the heavens to be back in Montreal. I wish, and it's really interesting, reading the comments in the Gazette, because there's a ton of comments, right? I know I don't live there. People are saying in the comments, you're a tourist. You don't see how bad it can be. I understand that. But I'm also coming in with fresh eyes. And I guess I just hope that Montrealers can see what they have and realize you haven't ripped down your culture. You haven't ripped down your history. Your architecture is absolutely stunning. And it's a very, very livable city. And that's what I was telling my husband, Dan. The joie de vie, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. Or maybe it is in my imagination. One of the comments, which I found really funny, just 2 words. Somebody said my article was sentimental claptrap. Fine. If it is, it is. But it's my sentimental claptrap. And I just hope that people in Montreal especially can just see that it's such a unique, beautiful city, and don't give up on it. And I don't want to give up on Toronto. I didn't leave Toronto because I wanted to. I left because I felt like I had to, right? And the two cities, can't we all just get along? They both have wonderful things to offer. But Montreal, my God, I just feel so lucky to have been born and raised there. No idea. It's
funny. This is kind of a you can't see the forest for the trees routine, right? For people living here, there's so much to complain about, and we get that every day here on the show. That's part of the appeal, I guess, in a sense. But I loved how you described. I love the one part where you said, "What did you say? The Metropolitan hasn't changed in 35 years."
Yeah,
or the Cary Expressway. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I was 23 again. Yeah. Bombing down in my friend's Renault 5. It's not changed at all.
And
which is nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because in Toronto, I can go back a month, in a month from now, and walk down the street, and it's changed. Yeah. A building I've known for 30 years is gone. It can be gone in a second in Toronto.
Yeah, you'll go back and they'll add another 4 lanes to the 407 or the Don Valley. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on there. So yes, we're still stuck with what we got, and of course we love it and we hate it. But I love what you said. Tell everybody what happened when you drove by the Orange Julep.
Oh, the Orange Julep, because I was telling my husband, I was saying, now we're going to be staying at a Montreal landmark, and you can probably see it from here. And we passed by the Orange Julep, and I said, look at that. And he said, is that where we're staying?
I love that. From the out-of-towner. Where did you end up staying?
Oh, it's a secret.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to tell anyone.
You can't even give it up now? Okay.
Because people have to guess. It's a landmark.
Okay.
You can see it from the Metropolitan. As you're coming in, you can see it.
You stayed at the abandoned National Film Board building? Well, I guess that's a no. Okay. You can see it from the map.
Anyone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A landmark.
Yeah.
Is it downtown?
It's, define downtown. No, I guess not.
Okay. And how did you know to stay? Like, how did you find it?
I did some research, and let's just say it's a very serene place.
Okay.
Very, may I say, holy place.
So you slept underneath the cross on Mount Royal. I get it. That's fine. That's okay. It doesn't really matter.
It was very cheap.
Yeah,
that only cost $100. That was very cheap.
It doesn't matter. Listen, I thought it was wonderful, and I know, and I'm sorry some of the comments say that, but that's to be expected, I guess, and you probably knew you were going to get that as well, coming back as a tourist.
Of course. My whole point is, let's just recognize, especially in Montreal, I hope people realize how unique and beautiful the city is, and, you know, I didn't leave. I didn't want to leave, but I left. One quick thing: I wrote a screenplay about the punk scene in the early 1980s, and these two characters, and one has to leave and one stays. It won a TIFF award. It won this grand prize in the TIFF screenwriting studio. It took an American to recognize the story and say, no, this is a really, really unique story. That screenplay is still unproduced because is it an Ontario story or is it a Quebec story? Mm-hmm. So producers that have been like tossing it around back and forth. It's an everyone's story. It's a human story. And, I just hope people really value what we have in Canada and what we have in our major cities. I'm just so happy that I'm close enough to Montreal that I can come back on a regular basis now and have some really good food and watch the Canadians next year.
Good for you. It's a great, great story. It's funny, just as you were talking, someone texted in when you said, we shouldn't give up on the city, and someone texted saying, we haven't given up on it, the politicians have. And we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. All the best. Hope you can talk, or when you come back next time, give us a call.
That would be lovely.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Carolyn Bennett, there you go, Torontonian who left Montreal in 1986 and basically spent the next, 30, 40 years there and coming back into the city and how nice that was. Sometimes, you know what? I guess the whole message here is we don't appreciate what we have.